Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Sarah and I'll be guiding you through your practice here today. Today's class is the fourth series of 10 days and today we will be focusing on balance. So just have some props close by, maybe some blocks if you like to work with them, and I'll meet you down on the mat. So we're going to come to find ourselves laying to begin with, coming all the way down. And then once you find your way down onto the mat, coming to bend the knees and planting the feet if they're not already. And then on your next breath, drawing both knees in towards the chest, taking hold of front of the shins with both hands. Drawing them closer in towards the body. Maybe you might like to interlace the forearms around the front of the shins, taking hold of opposite elbows if that's there for you. Taking some rocks maybe side to side. And then on your next breath, coming to interlace the hands around the front of the right shin, extend the left leg down the mat long. Coming to cradle the front of the right shin, right knee with the left hand, we're going to extend the right arm out towards the right side. On your next breath, we're going to draw the right knee across the left side of the body for a supine spinal twist. Maybe you're taking some movement in and out here. Before coming to find some stillness. Maybe the gaze is up towards the sky, or maybe it is down the side of that right arm. On your next breath, drawing that knee back through center, give it a little squeeze in towards the body, and then come to plant the left foot back down towards the mat, so the knee is bent. And taking the hands around the back of the right knee and then interlacing them once again. Coming to clamp down the leg on towards the hands. So we've got the hands interlaced behind the back of the thigh. Then on your next breath, come to extend that right leg, drawing the toes towards the face, not necessarily with the leg straightened all the way. Come to close the leg one more time. Coming to clamp down on the hands, and we're going to take that 2 more times, so extending the leg and then closing the leg, extending the leg and closing the leg. Beautiful. Come to uninterlace the hands, come to place that right foot down to meet the left, and then come to draw the left knee in towards the chest, interlace the fingers, the hands around the front of the left shin or left knee. Allow the right leg to go long down the mat. And then taking hold of the left knee into the right hand, extending the left arm out towards the side. On your next breath, coming to bring the left knee across the right side of the body for a supine spinal twist. Maybe you're taking some movement here, or maybe you're finding stillness straight away. Taking a round of breath wherever you are. And then drawing the knee back through center, giving a little squeeze in towards the body. And then coming to interlace the hands behind the back of the left thigh, just cradling the back of the knee here, and then close the leg. Maybe you're coming to plant the right foot down so the right knee is bent as a support here for the leg. And we're coming to think about bringing that that left thigh in towards the chest more. And then come to extend the leg. Sending the heel up towards the sky and then closing the left leg off again. Just taking that 2 more times. Using your breath to guide you. Beautiful. When you've done your final round, come to release the leg and let the left foot come to join the right foot. We're coming up to find a tabletop next. So if you'd like to just roll off to one side, feel free to do so. Or if you want to, you can bring the hands behind the back of the legs, lift up the hips to build some momentum as you rock the spine up and down the back of the mat. Giving yourself a nice little massage till you come up, maybe you cross the legs coming up and over. Finding yourself in your tabletop. And once you found yourself into your tabletop, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips or thereabouts. We're going to go for a few rounds of cat-cow here. So coming to find your cow pose first. Allowing the sit bones to shine up towards the sky, chest is coming through and belly is lowering down towards the mat. creating that arch through the lower back. Reversing this motion, finding cat, drawing chin towards chest, pushing the mat away from you and coming to tuck the tailbone under. Just moving between these two motions. Take in one more round. And then when you find yourself next in cow pose, come to place the hands a handprint ahead, come to tuck the toes, come to hover the knees and lift the hips up and back. Allow the gaze to come towards the back of the mat, through the legs. Taking a round of breath here, might be a nice generous bend in the knees. On your next breath, come back down into that tabletop. Allow the knees to lower, find that cow pose again. And once you're in this cow pose, come to lift the hips up and back, finding down dog. And then coming to lower the knees back down again. Finding that cow pose and then coming to lift the hips up and back again for down dog. And once you find yourself back in down dog, just come to pedal out the feet, maybe taking some pedals, straightening one leg, bending the other. And then come to find some stillness in that down dog. I'm going to experiment with hovering the hand here. So start to think about firming really heavily down into the left hand, evenly distributing your weight between the legs and that left hand. Maybe start to even bend the knees to help bring a little bit of buoyancy in here as you start to think about coming light onto the fingertips of the right hand. And then dragging that hand all the way towards the back of the mat. Maybe the hand stays connected, or maybe you come to hover it beside the right leg. And then coming to bring it back towards the top of the mat. Really firming down into the right hand now. Thinking about becoming very light between the left, on the left hand, or maybe coming onto the left fingertips. Come to drag the hand all the way to the back of the mat. Maybe it stays connected, or maybe it comes to hover beside the left leg. And come to place that left hand back down, back to the top of the mat. On your next breath, we're going to tiptoe our way towards the top of the mat. Finding yourself in forward fold. A couple of versions, you can bring elbows towards the thighs, or maybe fingertips to blocks, or maybe the palms are towards the earth. Allowing the head and neck to hang heavy here. Generous bend in the knees, allowing the chest and thighs to connect. And then really firming down for the big toe, the little toe, the heel. Coming to feel the earth beneath you as you come up to rise. Allow the chin to be tucked in towards the chest as you come up, let arms hang heavy. And then as you come up, the arms circle out wide. Palms come up above the head. Maybe they meet as they draw down through heart center. And then on your next breath, coming to bend the knees. As you bend the knees, bring the hands, sweep the hands back behind you, and then bring them out in front, coming to find chair pose. Just explore here, maybe taking the feet hip width, maybe allowing the toes to come to touch, and just noticing what feels comfortable for you here in terms of holding your chair pose. And then on your next breath, maybe the hands come towards the hips, or maybe you've still got the hands hovering above the head or out in front. Start to think about coming into the left leg, really bearing the weight onto that left leg, and start to come onto the right toes. Start to lift the heel of the right foot off the mat. And then maybe you might like to stay here, or maybe you come to hover that right leg. And then on your next breath, if you are hovering a leg, we're going to come to tip forward ever so slightly, leaning the torso as we shoot that leg back towards the back of the mat, coming to find crescent. You can also just drag the toes towards the back of the mat if your foot was still connected. Bringing the hands up towards the sky, finding yourself in crescent lunge, front knee is bent, and we're on the back toes. On your next breath, come to bring the left hand down towards the earth, right hand is still extending up towards the sky. And then on your next breath, we're going to come slightly forward. So as we come forward, we're dragging those back toes with us, and the arms are going to change as that right knee then comes up to hover. Once again, you can keep it still down towards the mat. Alternating the arms as we come back one more time, coming to find crescent. And moving here with your breath. Alternating arms and leg. Coming to hover the leg and switch the arms over. When you come to find your leg hovering up at the top of the mat one more time, bring the hands to heart center. Maybe the foot is still to the floor. And then we're going to come to find eagle. So we're going to come to wrap this top leg, maybe finding a bend in the left leg to begin with, bending through that left knee, and then come to wrap the top of the right leg over the top of the left thigh, maybe even interlacing the foot around the back of the left calf. If that's too much, maybe you've just got the foot onto the floor as a kickstand. Taking a round of breath here, maybe bending into that standing leg a little bit more. And then come back up, lifting that leg back up. Draw the hands through heart center as we then come to tilt forward, finding some strength through that standing leg, really rooting down through the floor as we come to send that right leg back behind us, finding warrior three. Once again, you don't have to come all the way forward. You can have the toes on the back floor and the torso can just lean ever so slightly forward. Finding warrior three. Coming to lower that back foot down and come to lift the arms back up towards the sky for crescent lunge. Embracing any wobbles that might come. And then come to frame that left foot. Come to either slide the leg back, or if you want to, you can come to draw the knee in towards the chest as you step it back to plank. Come to lower the knees down towards the mat. Untuck the toes. Lower yourself all the way down. Firming down through the tops of the feet, energetically drawing the elbows in towards the rib cage, hands up beside the ribs. Come to lift the head, lift the chest for baby cobra. And lowering back down, pushing up into the hands, coming to find tabletop. And then once again, think about finding that that cow pose. Coming to tuck the toes and then lift the hips up and back for down dog. Coming to walk yourself towards the top of the mat, finding yourself in forward fold. Taking a round of breath here. Throwing down through the feet, coming up to rise. To draw the hands down through heart center. And then come to, as you bend the knees, as if you're sitting in an imaginary chair, sweep the hands back behind you and then bring them back forward, maybe out in front or maybe over the head. Or even at heart center, finding yourself in chair pose. And then start to become heavy into the right foot. Start to think about coming light into the left, coming onto the toes, and maybe this is where you stay. Or maybe you come to hover the foot, maybe even flex the toes up towards the sky to help find that engagement through that floating leg. And if the foot is connected, we're going to slide, if the foot's connected to the floor, you're just going to slide it all the way back to find crescent lunge. But if you are hovering the leg, come to tilt the body forward ever so slightly as you then come to step the foot back behind you, finding that mid-air balance, coming to find crescent lunge. Taking a round of breath here. And then come to bring the right hand down beside the right leg. Left hand is coming up towards the sky still. And we're coming to find those crescent cross crawls. So on your next breath, coming to lean forward. As you come to lean forward, we're coming into that standing leg. The right arm is coming up towards the sky, left hand coming down to the floor as the left knee hovers. Maybe the foot's connected to the floor. And then move in between these two motions. So crescent lunge, and then coming to find your crescent cross crawl. Just show the variation of the foot still attached to the floor. You could just drag the foot forward and find that connection still with the floor. The leg does not have to hover. When you find yourself in that crescent cross crawl at the top of your mat, maybe the leg is hovering, maybe the foot's connected to the floor. Bring the hands to heart center, and then take that left leg over the top of the right thigh. Come to bend through the right leg to begin with. So you're basically crossing the legs here, finding Garudasana, eagle pose. Maybe you wrap that leg a little bit further around the back of the right calf, or maybe the foot is on the floor acting as a kickstand. Taking a round of breath here. And then coming to stand, drawing that leg back up. Coming to bring the hands to heart center if they're above the head as we start to tilt the chest forward, tilt the torso forward, and this back, this hovering leg is coming back behind us, coming to about hip height to find warrior three, or maybe the feet are on the floor. The foot is on the floor, maybe toes are just touching. Finding your variation of a warrior three. If you are in your warrior three and your torso is leaning and you are hovering the leg, think about maybe really flexing through those toes or pointing the toes to find that engagement. Bring some awareness to the standing leg. Can you find some more engagement in that outer glute? And then come to find the back of the mat with the back toes. Come to lift the hands up to the sky, finding crescent lunge. Come into fold over the top, come to frame the front foot, step the right foot back to meet the left foot, and then come to lower the knees down towards the mat, untuck the toes, lowering yourself all the way down. Firming into the tops of the feet, coming to bring the hands beside the rib if they're not already, drawing the elbows in, come to lift the head, lift the chest for baby cobra. On your next breath, coming back down, pushing it into the hands, coming up through tabletop, and then send the hips back towards the heels, coming to find an extended balasana, child's pose. If it's calling to you, maybe you take the hands so they're reaching towards the back of the mat. Taking any variation here, coming to tune into the body and observing what there might be to notice here. Maybe the breath has changed. Maybe the body temperature has changed. Maybe you're noticing certain muscles that are switched on within the body. Not attaching judgment, we are just simply observing. Then on your next breath, coming up to rise. Coming off to one side and then coming to extend the legs out in front of you long. Coming to remove any fleshy parts from underneath the sit bones as the legs draw into one another. Coming to find Dandasana. And then send the hands up towards the sky. Think about flexing the toes towards the face, maybe even the heels slightly hover here. And then come to find Paschimottanasana, forward fold. We're going to come to either fold forward, or maybe it's just a very slight, the hands can come down towards the mat, maybe it's just a very slight hinge forward. If you want some extra assistance, maybe the hands come back behind you and they help to walk the body towards the legs. Once again, you can also have a nice generous bend in the knees here to help bring the chest more towards the thighs and create a little bit more space through the back. And coming to settle in here for a few rounds of breath. And on your next breath, coming to roll up nice and slowly. Bring the hands back behind you, just outside of the hips. Come to bend the knees and take the feet about hip width apart, maybe just outside. And take some window wipers here, just allowing the legs to come over to one side and then over to the other side. Maybe pausing along the way anywhere that might feel like it wants a little bit of extra attention. And then coming back through center and coming to close off your practice here. It was an absolute pleasure to guide you here today. I hope you had fun exploring your balance. And yeah, if there's any questions, any comments, please feel free to either email us or just pop it down in the comment section. Thanks guys, take care, bye.